Hello guys, it's another beautiful Thursday, and we thank God for this far, and thank you for tuning in to today's show. Remember, this is Lifestyle Thursdays with me, Sylvia Wanja, and obviously I am not alone. I am here with the lovely
Faith Wewa.
Yes, and we're going to have an absolutely amazing time as we get insight about lifestyle, and today's topic is one that you don't want to miss. So make sure you stick around ndio uweze kujifunza mambo mengi ambayo we have for you today. Now, today we're going to look at something very interesting. We're going to look at malnutrition. Many at times umesikia hii jina ikiwa dished around, umeioverhear mahali, but do you really know or understand malnutrition ni nini? What does it entail? Ama tu ni ile general knowledge ya kupitia tu. That's why with us today here we have a nutrition and dietetics officer anaitwa Lilian Marita, ili aweze kutuambia what is malnutrition, and we can dig deeper and get to figure out and understand what malnutrition is, what it involves. Not what you're ignorant. I mean, we must understand these things because our health is our wealth, and we need to keep up with good health. Not to see tumie pesa mingi baadaye. Sawa sawa? Yes. Faith?
Yes.
Uko poa?
Uko poa? How are you?
I'm good.
Malnutrition it is.
Malnutrition it is. Today, if what we're eating, is it the right thing?
Exactly.
Right? And when it comes to malnutrition, hiyo ni nini? Ama tu ni, unajua labda tumejijazia mambo yetu, and probably it's not the actual thing. So
no, we always resort to brother Google.
Yes.
Everything is Google.
So to confirm, chenye tume Google, ama chenye tumesikia huko nje, ama the bit of knowledge that we have, let's add to it today, that tuweze ku prevent malnutrition. Ama vipi?
Yep.
So karibu sana.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself to the viewers and tell them who you are and what it is that you do.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Lilian Marita. I'm a nutrition and dietetics officer, currently practicing and based at Annex Hospital. Yes.
That is beautiful. So let's just start immediately to dig to ndani. What is malnutrition?
Well, malnutrition is a state when you don't have enough in the body, or when you have too much of something in the body. So that is to say, we basically have overnutrition and undernutrition. And we also have another form of malnutrition, that is when you have less micronutrients in the body. So as a result, you will have what we call micronutrient deficiencies, and that is what we basically know as a hidden hunger. So a lot of times when we are talking of undernutrition, of course, micronutrient deficiency would fall under nutrition, because you may never have overnutrition of micronutrient, but it's also a very important aspect of malnutrition. Yes. And
these micronutrients, where do we get them from? Are they this vitamin A, vitamin B, or?
Yes, yes. The micro, they are called micro because they are required in very small quantities in the body, and that's when you get, but they are very important. So you just need very little sodium, very little iron, very little of that potassium, but it is very important. They're actually in micrograms. Yes.
That it is important for us to have them in the body.
Yes.
Wow. And what do you think are some of the causes of malnutrition?
Well, in our understanding, malnutrition is caused by very many causes, and as nutritionists, we actually grade them into three. We have what we call immediate causes of malnutrition, because we have disease. When someone gets sick, they are likely to get malnourished. And then there is also lack of food, just basic lack of food.
Yeah.
So that is an immediate cause. Now, what causes lack of food? It's when the household does not have adequate food. When you're not able to take enough because you don't have it. So at household level, you're missing food to take so that you can be adequately nourished, so you become malnourished. Then again, we also have poor practices. That is largely, it goes around what we do in terms of hygiene and how we feed in terms of how much we are giving, what we do when we are giving this food and stuff like that. Then there is basically also the public health aspect where you have health-seeking behavior. What do you do when you're sick? How do you treat your child? Do you take them to hospital? Do you get to just start the, what are they called? You start your own treatment at home. So that will exacerbate that disease. And this lack of adequate and the way you practice how you feed that child is what causes the inadequate intake in terms of food. And then all this is actually as a result of what we call basic causes. So basic causes is you're looking at why does a household not have adequate food? And you say that maybe they don't produce enough. Maybe they do not have adequate land to do the farming. Or maybe whatever food they would need to plant there does not come. And so when they are not able to plant, what are the options they need to buy? Why aren't they able to buy? They don't have money. You see, why don't they have money? The economy is bad. So at that level, you are actually looking at issues, policy issues, government issues that are not directly causing this malnutrition, but they contribute because it's a basic cause. Poverty, somebody who's poor, for example, may not be able to put food on the table. And so until they get to a level where they get something that they are able to put on the table, then you know, they would have that malnutrition. So basically 3 causes, immediate causes, underlying causes, and basic causes. So basic causes at the national government or county government policy level, underlying causes at household level, and immediate causes at individual level.
Wow, that is very insightful. You've even mentioned something that was very interesting when you've mentioned about these over-the-counter drugs, home treatment. Ile unaambiwa you're feeling as if uko sawa tumbo. Probably it could be something to do with malnutrition, lakini unaambiwa we kunywa maji kona ginger utakuwa sawa. You know, ama kunywa maji utakuwa sawa. If you feel something is off, and their natural remedy instead of going and seeking medical assistance. Now, you've explained what undernutrition is, what overnutrition is. So, can you explain to us under what circumstances someone can have overnutrition? Because undernutrition tumesikia sana, but overnutrition, under what circumstances mtu anaweza jipata akona hiyo nutrients kiwango iko juu zaidi?
Well, overnutrition is basically being overweight or being obese. And for us to decide that you are overweight or obese, we actually use the same measurements that we use to come up with what is undernutrition. We do what we call nutrition assessment. So for nutrition assessment, you are comparing somebody's height with their weight. That happens for both children and adults. So when you check your weight versus your height, there is what we call WHO standards. And when you are not meeting those standards, then we would say you are underweight or overweight. So for somebody to be overweight, we say they have, when you compare their weight and their height, we have what we call a body mass index criteria, where we say if you are between 18 and 25, you're okay. You're normal. Then if you're less than 18 kilograms, of course, kg body weight per meter, because we measure that BMI. It's an index, so it will be weight, which is in kgs, and height, which is in meters. So when we compare that, you actually get the kilograms per meter squared. Then, so anyone that is less than 18 will be undernourished. Anyone between 18 and 25, they will be normal. Above 25 to 30, that person is overweight. Beyond 30, you are obese. Then we go further in grade obesity, grade 1, grade 2, and of course grade 3. That means if you're above 30, between 30 and 35, you're grade 1, 35 to 40, grade 2, and above 40, grade 3. The risks that actually come with overweight and obesity are what we are seeing now as lifestyle diseases. The common non-communicable diseases that we have, diabetes, hypertension, and the like. And the higher your BMI, that is, the more obese or the more overweight you are, the more likely that you will develop those lifestyle diseases. That's why we say overnutrition is now becoming a big deal, because the more people are getting overweight, the more they are becoming sick with those non-communicable diseases. And of course we know the result.
So it is important to maintain a healthy weight. And how can you maintain that healthy weight?
Well, eating healthy is the way out.
Eating healthy.
You just need to eat healthy. And of course practice a healthy lifestyle, which would include exercises. Basically.
And also, you know, when we talk about malnutrition, majorly we look at children. And right now there is an issue of overnutrition in children. Kindly talk about it.
Well, overnutrition in children is also just as a result of those two. People children not feeding healthy and not having physical activity. We call them physical activity. So you will find a situation where a child is feeding on basically junk, you know, junk for food, all sorts of food. When we get to talk to children that come even in schools, you will find a child will tell you, what did you carry for your snack? They'll tell you, I carried chips, I carried, what are they called? Crisps, all these snacks, sodas and all those snacks. Very few we would find carrying a fruit, some milk, yogurt and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, what they are eating is what causes that overweight. And then a lot of times, look at our schools, look at I like the fact that now CBC has come and there is physical activity, and it's not just as a by the way, because we got to a situation where children do not really go out to play. So when they are not engaging in physical activity, they are sedentary. They are basically practicing a sedentary lifestyle. When they are back at home, what are they doing? Watching TV. So they will be watching TV, and likelihood that they are watching TV and snacking at the same time is very high. So what happens is that they will be eating, snacking, watching TV. They are not going out. And then when time for proper feeding comes, lunchtime or even dinner, they're not going to eat. Why? They're already full with snacks, you get. So at the end of the day, they continue having that. They get overweight, and they continue being malnourished in that way. The other thing is that currently, you see the way urbanization is coming, and how people are staying. And where they are staying, there's a lot of things. For example, if people are staying in flats and there's no playground, where are children going to play during holiday? Like now we are having them for 2 months.
At home.
At home. Where are they going to play? So where are they going to have that physical activity? 1. 2, the danger of the way you see kids being stolen and, you know. So every other person tells their child, stay in the house, stay in the house, you know, because of safety issues. So as a result, you will actually get children getting more overweight and many of them getting obese. But basically those two are poor feeding habits and lack of or minimal physical activity.
Wow.
Yes.
Watoto wapatiwe ngwashi.
Na pia watoto watafute mahali pa kucheza.
Because nowadays they're just playing online.
Yes. Yeah,
the
they
games.
actually are playing online. They will watch TV, eating. There's this the two things that people put for kids to watch as they're eating. So they are not even concentrating on this food that they're eating. Yes.
And what is the importance of concentrating with how you're eating food? Because I've come across it a couple of times that
Yes.
you should practice mindful eating. What does mindful eating involve, and why is it important for you to be mindful when you're eating and avoid any distractions?
It's basically the fact that, when you're eating your food and you're minding it,
Yeah.
you will mind what is on that plate to start with, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you will have to choose the healthy foods to put there.
Yeah.
When you're not thinking about it, what will happen? You will pass and get this, just eat.
Yeah.
Another, at the end of the day, just like I'm saying, for example, with the children, they will have eaten a lot of snacks and not necessarily healthy snacks.
Yeah.
So they are full. Even adults, the same way. You will get whatever food, you eat it, along the way. By the time you are thinking of, I should be eating, you're already full.
Yeah,
so what's going to happen? That which you have eaten has replaced your healthy food. So you literally have lost your mindful. You are not mindful of what you're eating. So it means when we say you be mindful about eating, means you have regular feeding times. You have a plan of what to eat, because that way you can choose healthy foods. You can diversify your foods. You can actually know the amounts that you're going to eat and regulate them, so that you are able to maintain your good body weight. Yes.
Guys, I hope you're following through with this conversation, and I hope you're going to practice mindful eating. I know it is tempting sometimes to just eat food while you're watching, or while you're chatting with your friends, or while you're doing something, some activity. You're like, let me save on time, But it is important for you to practice mindful eating so that you're careful about the food that you're taking in, the amounts that you're taking. Sawa? And then, what about the consequences that come along with malnutrition?
Well, there are very many consequences of malnutrition, and we can actually group them into three. In terms of health, of course, you're going to have a malnourished population. So children, for example, are going to have very poor growth when a child is malnourished. For example, maybe we didn't mention, but we have three forms of malnutrition. You can have wasting, you can have stunting, and you can have overweight. Now, or underweight. For example, for wasting, that is when a child is too thin for their weight.
Yeah.
So when they are too thin, it means they are wasted. When they are stunted, it means they are too short for their age.
Yeah.
That is the simplest way I would put it. Too short for their age. And then when they are underweight, they have a combination of both. So wasting is acute, is short term. It's for a short time. It's a quick thing that happens within a short time because of lack of food or disease. Chronic is when someone lacks food for a long time. Or they are not able to eat adequate for a long time. Or they are eating poor foods a long time. So for example, if somebody eats a specific amount of type of food, then they stay for long with that kind of food, they will get stunted. They will not be growing according to their age. So they will be shorter for their age. And then, of course, we have underweight would be a combination of both. Overweight, we have already discussed about it. Now, I want to tell you about stunting. For stunting, we are talking about that is something that happens within the first 2 years of life. That is the first 1,000 days. And we count those 1,000 days from the time the mother is pregnant to the time 2 years of delivery. And we are looking at, during that time is when you need to feed the children well. The mother needs to feed well, get adequate nutrition. And then by the time they give birth, they feed the child, the breastfeed exclusively, then they start complementary feeding up to 2 years. That would tell you then after that, whatever happens in those 2 years defines how a child grows up. So what I'm trying to say is that stunting is irreversible after 2 years. And that's why we are saying that the consequences of malnutrition can be lifelong. You know, they can be lifelong in this sense. That child will be retarded and they would never achieve their potential. That is with stunting. Then there's of course deaths, wasting, acute wasting. That is what the malnutrition that you know as marasmus, kwashiorkor, or marasmic kwashiorkor causes death. And more than half of the infant deaths that occur are attributed to malnutrition, 50%. That may come in form of diarrhea, in form of acute respiratory infections, that may come as other measles related, HIV and all that combined. You will get about 53% is as a result of malnutrition. So that means in terms of health, you will have deaths, you will have poor growth, you will have children that are not going to achieve their potential in life because their brain did not develop properly. Stunting would lead to poor brain development and eventually they will not achieve that. In terms of education, what does that mean? It means that a child that is not achieving their potential when they're in school, instead of scoring highly, they would be scoring low. So what does that mean? That child will not cognitively, they will not have developed, and they will not achieve what they would have achieved in life if they were not stunted. In terms of acute wasting, you see a child that is malnourished would need to be in hospital, would need to be at home, be seeking treatment. What does that mean? They will be absent from school. So they will miss school, they will not be attending fully, and that translates to poor performance and rolls on and on. In terms of economic, there are two aspects. When you look at the acute malnutrition, treating malnutrition is not cheap. Yes, the most recent studies I have seen indicate that we spend about $100. $100 treating a child with malnutrition. That means from the time you identify that this child has acute malnutrition, that is they are wasted, to the time that you discharge them and say that now this child is okay, that you will have spent 100 averagely. That's how much in Kenyan shillings?
Wow, times 150.
It's a lot of money. 150.
Yes.
15,000.
15,000. Wow. So if you have 10, 150. Multiply those numbers by the numbers that you would have wherever. If, for example, you have 6%, okay, like now in the country we have wasting at 5%. So looking at the number of under 5s, in the county we have the same amount, about 4%. So 4 in every 10 children, and you want to spend so much money. So economically, would actually be spending a lot of money. Then there is also the cost of when someone is stunted and they are growing up with not achieving their potential. Even finally, when they get to the level of working, they would not be as productive. That is one. The other thing is we are saying if even adults that are malnourished who would be at work when they're malnourished? They would be sick, probably at hospital and wherever. So in terms of economy, that pulls it down. People are not working optimally because they're spending a lot of money treating other diseases and things like that. And even overweight, for example, we have said overweight and obesity leads to non-communicable diseases. Treating diabetes is not cheap. Treating or managing, let's say managing because we manage them, is not easy and it's not cheap. The drugs, monthly, daily, and stuff like that. When you do accumulative cost, economically, that is then again, there's this cost that actually goes to utilization of services. When you have so many sick people, the burden goes to health. So at the end of the day, you're spending so much money. You need so much resources to manage the illnesses and diseases. Yes.
So as you can see, there are so many consequences. So why don't we just prevent it instead of getting to that point? Because
correct.
Ukiangalia the repercussions that are there because of ignoring the whole thing, too much. Very, very bad. So please be mindful of what you take. We encourage a healthy lifestyle, so that it doesn't get to the extremes of having those chronic illnesses that you will carry along the rest of your life, and you'll spend so much money on it. So let's try practice discipline in what we take for our own goods. Sasa? When it comes to
just a quick one, there are people who don't mind what they're feeding, and so they say nitatumia supplements. Supplements. Come I didn't take those ngwashes and all that. I junked. I'll just take supplements. Would you advise for supplements?
Now, what are these supplements that they are taking? Because you know, with health, with nutrition, basically, we are saying we have that micronutrient deficiency. So the government is doing a lot of things to make sure that people are getting foods and even supplementation when it's needed. So my quick response to that, because I think I've not gone into micronutrient, but my quick response would be supplements or supplementing in the way that you're saying it, in the common man's knowledge, does not or should not substitute proper feeding. I cannot say that I'm going to stop, that I will not eat vegetables so that I will get iron and vitamin A from supplements. There are a lot of dangers and consequences to that. And that's why even when we for example, when we supplement pregnant women who we know would be having challenges with iron deficiency, anemia, we have amounts that we give. It is specified that this woman would be taking this much, these times, for this long, okay? But you realize that when people just choose to take supplements out here, what's the basis? How much are they going to take?
Yeah.
You know, that is like taking drugs without a subscription. And it's not advisable because for all other supplementation practices, the government has put in place mechanisms. So I'll tell you just a few that are there. For example, we know that children under 5 are likely to suffer from vitamin A deficiency. So what has the government done? It has put in place a program for vitamin A supplementation. So children get vitamin A supplementation after the 6th month and onwards every 6 months until they are 5 years. At the health facilities, if you come, you will get supplementation for vitamin A.
Wow.
Then for iron, iron right now is being supplemented to pregnant women. We give it to pregnant women. Then We are now also doing what we call iron supplementation for school-going adolescent children. Yeah. And Nakuru was a pilot for that, and it has shown, of course, studies have shown that works when you supplement adolescents, so that by the time they are becoming older women and are now in their reproductive age, their iron status is good. Then there is the other one that we rarely talk about, but that is iodine. Iodine, the government has iodized salt. So people are supposed to take salt that is iodized. Yeah, those are very wide topics. Let's just have that understanding that it's important to have just follow through with. If you need supplementation, let's subscribed. But supplementation does not and cannot substitute healthy eating. Yes.
Wow, okay. So we have a few people who wanted to share, we asked a few people about malnutrition, and here's what they had to say about it. Let's see if people understand what malnutrition is and what their understanding is of malnutrition.
Labda mtu akikwambia mtu ako na malnutrition, wewe kwako unaona amekosa nini?
Maybe hajakula chakula iko na iron mingi. Yes, ama mboga. Hajakula mboga kwa wingi.
Malnutrition, amekosa any given element. Maybe for instance a certain mineral or maybe a certain vitamin, just certain component relating to balanced diet.
Okay, malnutrition means that you are lacking certain requirements which are essential for your body to function. Okay, so let's say kama you are vitamin D deficient, there's a essence like unakosa a certain type of mineral in your body to do a particular thing, or vitamin K. Unapata like example, people who usually bleed a lot, unaona, unapata unakosa vitamin K because it's helpful kwa blood clotting process. So unapata hiyo ndio issues zenye zinaweza kuwa nazo kwa msea kwa malnutrition.
Taanza kwa kuelezea kuhusu malnutrition. Pale hapo kwanza lazima mtu akule vyakula kutoka kwa vitengo vyote vitatu ambavyo ni protini, carbohydrate, alafu na vitamini. Hivi vitengo vyote vitatu ili kwamba apate virutubishi ambavyo vinafaa kumkinga dhidi ya maradhi ya upungufu wa hiyo vyakula, kupata virutubishi vyote. Lasi kama mtu asipopata virutubishi vyote, huenda akapatwa na maradhi ama ndwele ambayo itaadhiri ukuaji wake.
Yeah, when someone has a malnutrition, it means that the body is lacking some essential elements, and that is, let's say, if maybe the person is very thin, malnourished, maybe the body needs proteins, the vitamins, and the carbohydrate for energy.
Kitu kama malnutrition, mtoto anakuwa na manywele zinatoka moja moja, hizi kwa shoko, hizo hazitaonekana. So consider balanced diet ni at least kwa chakula yako kukue na carbohydrate, kitu kama ugali, waru, ugali, waru, alafu vitamins ni vitu kama matunda hizi, mamboga, alafu tukiongelea kuhusu vitamins, carbohydrate, proteins manyama, hizi group pia manyama, red ama white, alafu na hizi legumes, especially legumes ni best sababu zina contain most of the proteins of the amino acid, these amino group mingi sana. So that's my point kuhusu balanced diet.
Asante sana.
Asante.
Una consider ni balanced diet?
Chakula balanced diet. Kideri kwa sawa, ama ukipata chakula kama nduma, muhogo, hizo vyakula ndio vyakula tunapenda sisi kama Waluya. Ni chakula iko poa kabisa.
So iko balanced diet.
Iko balanced diet. Na kawimbi hapo kidogo,
na ugali.
Okay, that was very, very interesting. Let me just start with the last person mwenye alikuwa anasema, according to him, a healthy balanced diet ni kitu iko na ndoma, githeri, kawimbi. Na kuna mali ame-mention mboga, haja-mention adi proteins. Tell us about that. Are people aware of these food groups? Wanajua ni aje watazi portion, venye watazikula, ama we are just ignorant, hatujui hizi vitu?
Well, people know. Some people have knowledge. Some people have minimum knowledge. You cannot completely rule out the fact that people know. But knowing the right thing is also a different thing altogether. And so we are saying that right now as nutritionists, we are working very hard to make sure that we disseminate a lot of knowledge to the community, to demystify some of the myths that people have. Because we've realized that a lot of people learn from others, you know, and sometimes what they learn may not necessarily be the right thing. So it is a combination of a little ignorance. I cannot call it full ignorance, just a little ignorance here and there. But also, that idea of learning the wrong thing from other people. And that's why we are saying it's very important that you consult the nutritionists. Just let them give you the right information so that when you're sharing that information, it's actually the right thing. So, for example, when we are talking about food groups, initially we used to talk about carbohydrates, proteins, and vitamins and minerals, but those ones we are now breaking them down to food groups. So we talk about 13 food groups for older persons, for the, what are we saying, the adults, and 7 food groups. If you add breast milk, you make it 8 for the children. So we say that for someone to consume a healthy diet, they should be consuming diversified diets. That means they are able to draw from the different food groups. For a child, we say a minimum of 4, 4 out of the 7. If you include breast milk, that is 5. So 4 to 5 out of the 7 food groups. Then for adults, we say it should be diversified. Means you're drawing from the different, because as adults, you're able to take a lot of food as it is. And when you're taking a lot of food, you can actually pick from the different food groups and get adequate. Yes.
When are the days, nasema tumekula tumeshiba. Yes. It's not about kushiba. It's, you know, ensuring that 4 out of 7 children.
Quality. It's about quality. It's not just quantity. It's not just quantity, it's about the quality of the food. And that quality, you will get it from the different food groups. Yes, and that's what we call diversified diets. Yes.
And these food groups, you've mentioned they're about 13. According to what we know, proteins, carbohydrates, vitamins, and I think vegetables, vitamins and vegetables, so I'm hearing of 13, I'm like, kuna zingine 10. Can you briefly tell us about the other food groups?
Let me tell you about let me use the food groups for children to just tell you what we are saying. It's basically what you know that as carbohydrates, but broken down so that you are able to be sure that when you're saying that a child has taken this, that's what they mean. For example, we say one food group is we have a group of roots, tubers, and grains. Is only roots, tubers, and grains.
Is only carbohydrates.
Yes, basically. The carbohydrates. And then we have legumes and pulses. So we have the beans, the peas, the lentils. All the lentils, that group. Then we have another group for flesh foods. That's the meat, the organs that go with it. Then we have eggs. It's another food group. Then we have dairy. That is milk and its products. Then we have vegetables. Now for vegetables, we group them into vitamin A rich vegetables and other vegetables. Vitamin A rich vegetables are those that would be green, and those that are orange. For example, the pumpkins, and of course the green ones. And then other vegetables, we have the broccolis, the cabbages, all now in that category. Then we have what we call vitamin A rich fruits. The yellow fruits, the orange fruits. Then we have vitamin A, other fruits. So when you count all that, you would get to 13. When you're doing it for adults, you would be separating the vitamin A rich vegetables, then you have other vegetables, then vitamin A rich fruits and other fruits. But when you're doing it for children, you put them together. So you will be saying vitamin A rich fruits and vegetables and other fruits and vegetables. So
Wow.
I hope that has given you an idea.
There's a lot of insight and so many things we are learning right here.
Yes.
Lifestyle Thursday. I didn't know there were 13 food groups, and now I do. So I also hope you're also picking those pointers at home. Now we're going to listen to more people who are going to explain what it is that they have been eating and what they deem as a balanced diet for them. So let's get to hear what they have to say.
Food that I'll consider balanced is inafaa ikuwe na proteins, some carbs, carbohydrates na vitamins. Yes. Na maji pia lazima.
Balanced diet ni ugali, mboga kienyeji kama kunde ama managu na nyama. Yes.
So I think for me, chakula kwa balanced diet, one, lazima ikuwe na all components. Inahitajika kwa mwili yako. Kuwe na vitamins, at the same time ikuwe na proteins na any other mineral yenye iko vital for your body formation, especially for organs.
A balanced diet requires you to have vitamins, carbohydrates and proteins. But due to the fact that people have different body ratios or body requirements, you can eat them differently. Kuna wale watu wenye wanahitaji more vitamins because they have deficiency in vitamins ama kwa mwili yao, and there are those people who actually require to eat a lot of proteins. Unaona? Let's say for example mse mwenye anafanya bodybuilding, protein intake yake na mtu wa kawaida it's different. Unaona? The same applies to a person who's older. Well, as you age you tend to lose more proteins. Unaona? Your body cannot retain the muscle mass yenye ilikuwa nayo. Unaona? So hata pia yeye anahitaji kukua na eat a lot of protein intake to compensate for the deficiency ya mwili.
Balanced diet ni chakula ambayo iko na carbohydrates, vitamins na hizo calcium zote. So me according to me, kama sahi nimeenda hapo kwa satellite, nimekula ugali, sukuma na nyama. Kwangu mimi ni balanced diet.
A balanced diet food is that meal that contains all the nutrients that is required by the human being for the proper growth. That is the carbohydrates, we have the vitamins and the proteins, plus all the minerals that are required by the body.
A balanced diet is having maybe different kind of types of food. For example, we have almost 5 types of food. We have the proteins, we have carbohydrates, we have vitamins, and the fiber. So if you have at least a portion of each of what I've mentioned, then maybe we call that what? A diet. For example, a carbohydrate, we have ugali. Then a protein is meat or beef, any other thing that is proteinous. Then vitamin is kind of the veggies. Then maybe you get a portion of milk. We call that a balanced diet.
Yeah, I consider a balanced diet a food having proteins, vitamins, and carbohydrates. Yeah, for example, if you take a meal, let's say ugali, sukuma wiki, some eggs, then thereafter you take an orange, that is a balanced diet.
Ukisema balanced diet, yani ni chakula yenye iko kwa kipimo, yani iko kwa kipimo, iko kwa usawa na inaleta umanufaa, yani when your body is balanced with nutrients kama carbohydrate, vitamins, vitamins nyingine ni carbohydrate, vitamins na proteins. Ukiongeza maji kwa list na roughages, hizo zote ukiziongeza kwa list, generally mtu atagrow vizuri.
Yes, we have had what people consider a balanced meal. Na tumeongelea the various food groups that are there and tunafaa kukula. And now we have more insight about what we are supposed to eat. Sawa as adults na pia as a parent, kama uko na mtoto pale nyumbani, ni chakula gani pia unafaa kumpea. As you're giving us your parting shot, I had this one last question. Which group of people are more vulnerable to malnutrition?
Basically, we have all would be vulnerable, but the most vulnerable is the word to use. We have under 5s, children that are less than 5 years.
Yeah.
And we would specifically be talking about children that are less than 2 years. Because as I've already explained, that stunting is something that comes after we are able to say that this child is stunted after 2 years and it's irreversible.
Yeah.
So those are vulnerable and they can be helped. They can actually, it can be prevented.
Yeah.
And then we have women of reproductive age by virtue of the fact that their needs are so high. Because of the physiological changes that happen with carrying pregnancies and stuff. And also those that are emerging now are adolescents. Adolescents because of their poor eating habits and other stuff like that. So we would be talking about children under 5, largely the 6 to 23. Then we are talking about women and the adolescents. Yes.
Now, as we're wrapping up, can you tell the people something about malnutrition, and also if they want to probably reach out to you and talk to you about malnutrition, if they have questions that they need answers to, using that camera right there.
Okay, for malnutrition is real, and malnutrition can be prevented. You just need to have the right information so that you're able to know the right foods to eat, the amount of the quantities, and to make sure that you're getting the right quality, so that you are able to maintain a healthy body weight and also be able to do physical activity as is necessary, and you will be okay. But for purposes of children, we are also saying that it's important that you give them the right diet, diversified, and the right amounts, and as often as they need to eat. So finally, we are saying that if you need to reach out to us, personally, you can get me at Annex. I'm at Annex Hospital, and you can reach out anytime so that you get, we get to share more. Yes.
Amazing, amazing. Guys, so I hope you have learned something from today's discussion, and I hope you're now wiser when it comes to matters malnutrition. And if you have more questions, she has shared her location at Annex, and you'll get your answers from there. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with Chic and Style. So make sure you don't go anywhere. Then a little later, after Chic and Style, we're going to have Hit the Gym. Remember, we're trying to maintain and live a healthy lifestyle. So make sure you also encourage those around you, your parents, your siblings, your neighbor, a friend you have just made. Try to encourage them so that we can all live a healthy lifestyle. Be your brother's keeper, and also push them so that they can also maintain weight. So let's take a quick break. We'll be coming right back with Chic and Style. Don't go too far.
Using a well-sharpened eye pencil, you can choose to fill in your eyebrows if they have distinct shape. If not, you can choose to draw an outline depending on how you want your eyebrows to look. Fitness and working out are essential components of a healthy lifestyle. They have numerous physical, mental, and emotional benefits. Hit the Gym will aim at providing you with daily home workouts that you can do from the comfort of your home. Here are some of the key aspects to consider when it comes to fitness and working out.